where the past still plays out there.
And we are live. Did that sound weird?
No.
Maybe something's going on with my headphones. Hold on one second.
Maybe it's your head, not your headphones.
You know what? It was my headphones. This entire time that I'm doing all these sound checks, my headphones were not plugged in all the way. So that's why I was hearing.
You had one job.
Exactly. That is exactly right. And I failed miserably. Welcome, everybody. We got the team. Look at this. John Turnbull back with us. Canistrari, Juckett, me, Pesky. Wow, this is the Justice League. Justice League.
We can't say Fab Five because Jaden Daniels would sue us.
That's true. And so would University of Michigan.
That's true. Yeah.
So I want to talk to you about your trip, John. How about that kid Cruz the other day with the three? That's his last name, right? With the three home runs.
Yeah,
what was it? Baez. Sorry,
Baez. It hasn't done anything since.
Okay, Mr. Old Man. Like, the guy hit 3 home runs in his first 3 at bats.
I have him on 2 of my fantasy teams, and one game, and that's it. 20 points.
And
nothing. Another Tuffy Rhodes.
I was at that game.
Were you opening day? That was right.
Yep. In fact, that's good. That's going to be one of my Mark sports blasts. Is going to be the Tuffy Rhodes game.
Yeah.
Those 3 home runs.
Absolutely drunk I was.
Those 3 home runs that were hit were on 3 different types of pitches.
Yeah.
And were hit to each field.
Yes.
The one he put the right field, he just barely touched it, and it went out.
Then the 4th at bat was a hard hit line drive, that didn't make it over. But I was thinking, like, is there any equivalent thing that an athlete could do in another sport that compares to hitting 3 homers in your first 3 at bats?
I don't know.
And does anything come?
Jeremy Lin in that run he had 20 years ago, but that was over multiple games.
But now, was that in his debut?
I don't think that was in his debut.
That was his debut, though.
Right. No, I'm talking about you've just been called up. You've never faced major league pitching ever in your life. I mean, you talk about having a pitcher's number because he hit them off the same, all 3 home runs off the same pitcher. But I mean, Pesky, Mike,
I think baseball doesn't have the equivalent of that because you get called up in the minors, you make your debut. Like NFL doesn't have that. You make the roster an open, so you could have it's different. But usually I think it's a bad omen. I mean, like he might be a great player, but to me, if you do that, it's almost like the baseball gods said, we're going to give you that, but by the way, your career is going to suck.
Yeah, he went 0 for 5 the next day with 3 strikeouts.
Canistrari's already done the VH1 behind the music for this guy.
He really has.
All right.
This kid is finished. I'm telling you, he's finished.
I mean, here's one that the Google machine brought up. Anquan Bolden, 2003, in his rookie debut, 10 catches, 217 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
That's good.
And he turned out okay, Canistrari.
Yeah.
I'm sure he dropped a pass the next game.
Baseball's unique.
It is.
Usually the best players, the guys with the best careers tend to have a tough time. Like Willie Mays went over 26 first career. Yeah. I'm trying to think of, I'm not sure what Ted Williams did. If he had I don't think he struggled, but
I think Jeter struggled when he first started.
Jeter definitely did.
It seems like the guys who become, I haven't done any research on this, but it seems like the guys who become great maybe have a tough couple of weeks to start things off as opposed to being studs right away.
What was Ted Williams' rookie year like? Anybody know?
He had a good year in 39.
He was good. He would have won Rookie of the Year if they had it back then. He had a good year. I'm not sure what he did in his first, I don't think he did much in his opening. Yeah, his first game was at Yankee Stadium. He didn't do a whole lot.
1939, he hit 327 in 677 plate appearances with 44 doubles, 11 triples, and 31 homers and 145 RBIs.
Yeah,
what a piker!
As a 20-year-old with a 436 on base average.
In his 1940 season, he kind of regressed a little bit, and he started getting booed a little bit. Like the fans kind of and that's where he started this kind of love-hate relationship with the fans.
Didn't Clay Buchholz throw that no-hitter in his second career start or something like that?
I think so.
Yeah.
And yeah,
You
okay.
know,
So and that would be sort of the baseball
and that,
equivalent. I mean,
and that,
Yeah.
it would be a no hitter
right.
the first time out. I was thinking in basketball, a rookie putting up 50, 60 points in their first game would be comparable, don't you think?
What did Wilt do? I wonder. Did Wilt do anything in his first game? I wonder.
Bet you
John,
Wilt might
didn't
have done
Austin
that.
Yeah.
Matthews score 4 in like his first week with Toronto?
Okay.
That would be the equivalent. You know,
Score what?
Austin Matthews when he was a rookie with the Maple Leafs. I think one of those games he had 4 goals very early on. Which
Okay, that would be another one. Rookie hockey player,
Right.
hat trick in their first game. I guess that would actually be tougher, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, I would say that
because
would
you're
even
not
be-
guaranteed to get a lot of playing time.
Yeah, you're only on the ice a certain amount of time. So we have got a great show for you. Kevin Burghardt will be joining us. We're going to talk about his journey in the hobby. Nothing new to report right now with the documentary. I'm just, continuing to work on this proof of concept reel. Next week I'm sure I'll have much more to say about that. So, John, the Galapagos. Before we get to Kevin, how was it? Did you party hard?
It was
you
very
and the
exhausting.
turtles.
It was very exhausting, and I can tell you firsthand that sea lions have no sense of personal space.
I don't think I want to know what that even means.
Oh no! Share.
When I went snorkeling down there, they just come right up to you and swim by you and play.
That's nice.
Yeah, but it's beautiful out there. It really is. It was gorgeous. Absolutely fantastic.
I know you saw a bunch of sharks.
Yeah, I showed you
I
that
saw the video
You
of
got
that.
sharks, yeah, blue-footed boobies, a lot of crabs.
Blue-footed boobies. What?
Yeah, that's a typical. Yeah, blue-footed, brown-footed,
Isn't
red-footed.
that the group that paints themselves blue and then they?
No,
hit
that's
the
Blue
drums?
Man Group.
Ah,
Yeah.
not Blue Man
Yeah.
It's a whole
boobies.
different thing.
Those are some of those theaters you're not supposed to go to anymore. Blue Bad Boobies.
And he said
So.
crabs in the next sentence. So, geez,
There you
where are we going with this?
Oh God.
It was a great trip.
Kevin's
Great
left.
trip.
What's that?
I said
That sounds
Kevin's
great
left
trip.
after that.
Oh.
Kevin,
So, without any further ado, let's bring into this Mishigosh a longtime fan of the hobby, Kevin Burghardt. Hey, Kevin, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me. Any opportunity to talk about this hobby that's been going 50 years strong for me, I'm all in. I appreciate it.
50 for me too.
Yeah.
How'd you get started?
Around age 8, one of the very wise adults in my life recognized my sports obsession, and they brought the game long ball into my life. And I know Kurt Berglund has some videos on long ball, and I'm sure other people do. So it's still around. I think there's a Facebook group for it. And so anyway, that game was in my life for a few months, and I played exclusively with the kid across the street named Jeff, who was my age. And at some point, a few months into that, I wandered into my parents' storage room in the basement, and just being a curious kid looking around and whatnot. And my dad had an APA football game in the back room there, and I pulled
That he
it
had
out.
never mentioned to you before.
He had never brought it up before. Oh, there's long ball right there. Michael has it. Yeah.
Well, and actually, before we finish the story, I would like to know what's the mechanics of long ball. How does
So
that
long
game
ball
work?
has 8-sided dice that run from 0 to 7. And my game had individual player cards, but later, a year or two into their production, they had team sheets that had all the ratings.
I see.
And I remember, I haven't had it out. I have one like Michael has, but I haven't had it out in a long time. I remember there was like a folding board that you could just lay out right in front of you that kind of gave you like a stadium feel, in addition to the baseball field that you had to mark the men on first and second and whatnot. So that sucked me in as an 8-year-old for sure.
So what year was that?
For me, it was 76 or 77 is one of those.
The reason I keep asking all these questions is because when I think back to that period, like once you got over your all-star baseball, the all-star baseball phase with the spinner, I thought the only choices you really had were APA or Strat.
Mhm.
And it sounds like this game long ball was a pretty sophisticated game. I mean, Michael, you've got it in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, here's some of the charts.
Yeah, those look familiar.
And the
Sure.
the cards were accurate. The player cards were relatively accurate.
Well, I have the version that has the team sheet. Like here's, you can't see really good, but there's Montreal right there.
Mhm.
That list, and on the back is LA. So they put 2 teams on each side, and then they have all the players and ratings right there.
And I guess by the mid 70s, you also did have, I believe, Sports Illustrated baseball, right? I think that
was
came
out.
out.
Yep.
That was
Right.
out,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway,
It's
all right. So
Status Pro.
was
Yeah, I
Really?
played Status Pro in the 80s. Yeah.
no in the 80s. He's talking. Yes, I know that. I had it in 79.
Okay.
Mhm.
He's talking about 75, 76. I
Okay.
don't know that. I mean, Status Pro may have been in somebody's basement being worked on or something, but I don't think was Jim Barnes Status Pro baseball. I know he was
Yeah,
Status
he
Pro
was.
basketball.
Yes.
He was baseball
I believe
too,
so. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So APA football.
So my dad had an APA football.
Your dad has it
game.
hidden like it's a Playboy magazine.
Yeah, and I dragged it out, and it had a full season set of cards, but they were from the early '60s. And I didn't know any of the players. I'm an 8-9-year-old kid, and guys like Paul Hornung, Jim Taylor, Bart Starr. I didn't know who these guys were. I knew the guys from television, Terry Bradshaw and Roger Staubach and so forth. So I taught myself the game, and I enjoyed it. But the enjoyment level that I had kind of reached a semi-peak because I couldn't relate to the player cards. So back then I had a paper route, and I had birthdays and Christmas, and one of those methods brought the latest Apple football set into my life, either as a gift or I bought it as paper route. And then I had Apple football with Roger Staubach. And
do you remember which season it was?
Franco, 77.
77. So that's what's that Super Bowl? That would be the
Dallas, Denver, I think.
Tony
70,
Dorsett's
yeah.
rookie year.
Yeah.
Right.
So now it just took off because now these are the guys that I'm seeing on television and
Right.
Totally enjoying myself. But with that mailing, there was a brochure for the APA baseball game. So in my brain, I didn't even know there was an APA baseball game. In my brain, I immediately went back to the long ball, and I'm like, whoa, that long ball game was fantastic. And this company has a baseball game. I can play this incredible company's game in baseball instead of football. So then I got the latest card set for APA baseball, and that's when everything just completely took off.
And you've been hooked ever since.
I've been hooked ever since. There was solo play at first, and then a couple of kids that were moved into the neighborhood that I knew from school, and we would have like a 3-man league, and we even came up with like a free agent system, and they'd be short mini seasons, like 12, 16 games, and play the season through, have a World Series, and then put all the cards back to where they were before all the trades, the original teams, and then start it all over again and keep doing that until the new card set arrived over and over and over for 3, 4, 5 years.
There's no way to say this without sounding like a cranky old man, but I think the truth is we grew up and, we were almost sort of, I think, the last generation of people or kids that grew up having to use their imagination for everything. A stick was a gun, right? Or whatever it was a magic wand, if you want, the games like APA and coming up with your own free agent system. And you were what, 10?
Yeah.
And around that 10-year-old today coming up with a free agent system, not happening.
I mean,
Pesky, you have kids would they have come up with that at 10? You have kids who were relatively young not that long ago.
My son plays MLB The Show, and he builds his rosters, and he uses guys from the past that he learns about, and he'll
Right.
come down and ask me, Dad, do you think is Mike Mussina better than Gaylord Perry? All
Right.
that stuff. So I mean, he does that, but like, yeah, I mean, it's a video game though, so it's a little bit limited in terms of your creativity in that way.
Right. 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 And we had to do it all with notebooks and pens. We had to learn, how to calculate a batting average when you're 8 years old, 9 years old. Which is really cool. So go ahead, Kevin. I didn't mean to. So you're playing with your friends. You've got this league. How long did the league last? Do you remember?
So that was 3 or 4 years, and then the high school years they kind of settled into a different group, and I went back to playing solo. And when I went to college, one of my good friends to this day that I met, his name is actually Jim Barnes, but
wow.
not the Jim Barnes. He was a big Status Pro guy, and we played a lot of Status Pro basketball and baseball during my college years. And then when I'd go back home for breaks, it would be APA playing solo. And then my early to mid 20s, I started to get the APA Journal, and I noticed in the back there that they had the ads for leagues looking for new members. And of course, this is pre-internet. So I was curious enough to just, answer one of those ads. And it turns out that it was like a match made in heaven. These guys were playing, this is like mid 90s, and they had an opening for a team. And these guys played a more, it's not the master game, but a more advanced with some modifications that kind of fit what I was looking for at the time, but couldn't develop them myself.
Right.
So it was just a really good match, and I ended up being a member of the Lame Duck Baseball Association for 14 years after that.
Wow. So this was a play-by-mail league, or this was?
Yeah, play by mail with a little bit of face-to-face, depending on if you lived within close proximity of certain guys. And I lived in Janesville, Wisconsin at the time, and there was a guy in Chicago. And there's actually another story that when I first joined that league, you talk to guys on the phone, and one of the guys worked for Southwest Airlines, and he got comp tickets in conjunction with his job for,
Sure.
I don't know, good attendance or whatever. And he was open to sharing them. So he set up a trip to Seattle back when they had the Kingdom, where he would leave from, I think he was in Indiana, and there was one of the guys in Pennsylvania. I was in Wisconsin, and another guy in Kansas City, and everybody took off from the different airports, and we would all meet up in Seattle and have a long weekend of playing league games and going to the Mariners game, the Kingdom, and having a good time. So I was very interested, but I was also kind of somewhat leery because these are three people I had never met before. And I'm going to spend 3 or 4 days with these guys, and hopefully we click. Otherwise, it's going to be a long weekend.
Right.
So I get to Seattle, and the first 2 guys are there already. And we're waiting for the 4th guy who's coming from Kansas City. His flight is, an hour later or whatever. So we're just in the airport, and we're chatting, and this is great. We're getting along, and I'm liking these guys, and they're talking APA and baseball. And
Right.
life, and
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean,
Oh,
I see how you might be a little leery because you don't necessarily know their personality, but you do have that common ground
right.
of your love of the hobby.
Right. So everything was clicking. And in my head, I'm thinking, there's one more guy to go here. It should be fine. But I really hope that 4th guy doesn't screw this up, because
Right.
everything's going good so far. So the 4th guy comes, and within 15, 20 minutes, I just wanted to hang out with him for the rest of the time. And he's still a friend to this day. His name is
wow.
Dave Butler.
Wow.
And I've known him since 1995. And in the first 15 minutes, I was just great sense of humor, a gregarious, friendly guy. And, the wonderful aspects of playing these games and the enjoyment that you get from them playing solo is not to be dismissed. But when you make lifelong friendships through these things, it's
Sure.
just, there aren't even words for that. It's just,
Yeah.
we're just very grateful that I met this guy, that there's just no way I would have met him without the LDBA. Just wouldn't have happened.
So what made you guys decide to go to Seattle? I'm curious. I don't think you mentioned that part.
I think it was like a sightseeing / see the kingdom, the Space Needle. I don't know which one of the four.
I mean, I would say Seattle's maybe even my favorite city of all the places that I've been.
It's the only time
I
been
get
there.
that, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But the kingdom was a train wreck.
Yeah, I didn't know that till I got there.
The kingdom I still have scarred memories of that place.
It was horrible.
It was a parking garage.
It was horrible, but the one
bad lighting, it was terrible.
It can't be worse than the Big O.
What's the Big O?
There.
In Olympic Stadium in Montreal.
Oh,
sure. I totally agree.
No, it would be worse because it was indoors. So you just felt. How can you feel claustrophobic?
Yeah.
In a baseball stadium.
Yeah.
The Kingdom made you feel claustrophobic.
Wow.
Like you wanted to open a window. Like you just. It kind of reminds I went to Fenway Park only once in my life, and I remember. I loved Fenway Park and it was gorgeous, but I do remember, at least back then, this was like early 2000s, where the concession stands were. It felt like you were going down to the pits of hell.
Yes.
So you went to a baseball game and an MRI broke out.
So anyway, Kevin. All right. So have you stayed in the hobby your entire life? Because some people I've been able to stick with it. Some people, they have kids, they get married, they forget about it, they move on to other things. What's your story?
I would say the answer is yes, but the one time that it was limited or shaky was when my kids were really little, and it was just so hard to just squeeze in time. I was married to my first wife at the time, and we had an agreement where I would have 1 hour a week on Wednesday nights from like 6 to 7 or whatever the hour was, where I could just not be a dad, not be a teacher, not be just had that quiet time. And that was straight up to the sports attic where I had all my stuff. And
So you did. I mean, even though you had to limit the amount, you didn't like put the hobby away. I mean, some guys put it away for 20, 30 years.
I've never had a break like that. No, not at all. So, there was that year or two where my Eric and Ryan were 20 months apart. So when Ryan was a baby and Eric was 20 months old, and that whole toddler baby stage. So a couple of years of just kind of grasping for an hour here, hour there to play. But it was never totally dead. Yeah, never totally dead.
What are some of your strongest memories of the hobby? Whether it's a game that you won, a game that you lost, something that stuck with you all these years.
I would say the first two that come to mind is when I was a kid, that league with the neighborhood friends that I mentioned a few minutes ago. We had our first season, these mini seasons, and my team actually was the Angels, but I had traded for Gorman Thomas on the Angels, and they made the World Series, and he hit a walk-off homer in Game 6 of the World Series to win the championship. And I can remember running around my parents' basement of just, you'd have thought I'd won the lottery 50 times over.
Can you still see it in your head?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. And
That's
my parents
great.
still live in the same house that they bought when I was 6. So going back there has a lot of memories for me.
So when you go back now, do you run around the basement and try to relive
Well,
former glory? Or
58-year-old arthritic knees, so the run is a little slower.
Corbin Thomas.
And then the second one to answer would be one of the LDBA seasons. I don't know if it was my first championship. I know I won 3. It was probably the second one. It went to a Game 7, extra innings in Game 7, and Luis Polonia got an RBI single in the top of the 10th, and then my team held on in the bottom of the 10th. And we were at one of the league members' place in Chicago, at his place in Wrigleyville, and I was down 3-2 in the World Series, and the other guy had a really good team, and I was pretty convinced that we weren't going to win these last 2 games. So it was the excitement certainly of winning it, but it was also kind of just the shock and surprise that we actually pulled it off. That was a big, and to just add to it, my opponent that day, Joe, was just the most classy guy you're ever going to meet, and just shook hands and hugged, and just I'd like to think I'd have done the same thing if it was the other way around. Just that added to the moment of Joe just not being bitter or angry or upset or anything. Just realizing in the big scheme of things, it's just a game.
I mean, anybody who gets bitter and upset because you beat them, in this, actually, I had my closest friend growing up, and I've talked about him many times, is this guy, Chris Gobrecht, who passed away a couple of years ago. He was the worst sore loser, whether it was because we used to play all of these games together. And it wouldn't be to the point where he would I'm not going to talk to you for a month, but he would be clearly just livid that somehow, because he also was he had a Mensa IQ. So he didn't like when he lost at anything because he thought his intelligence, not understanding that, well, your brain doesn't roll the freaking dice, man. Sorry, you didn't roll
number.
Yeah,
generators.
exactly. But that's really great. I know that Ron, you're the one who introduced us to Kevin.
Yes.
What's your connection to each other?
He was on Digital Dice. Well, I forgot why we had him on.
It was a few years ago. I don't remember what year it was, Ron, but
it was early. It was early in the show, and I think it was one of his Facebook group, because he does. We'll talk about him like he's not here.
Or ask him to talk about it.
He did the long-term project with great teams from your youth.
Let's hear about that.
In APA? Or did you do a season?
I don't know which project this is, because there's been a few.
This would have been probably 4 or 5 years ago.
I did one.
You did a
all
football one and a
70s
baseball
teams.
one. Okay, yeah.
And then when I went on Digital Dice, we talked about second season and how the game works, or just questions about second season from play. Football game. People that don't know.
I think what drew me to him was that he was doing complete full projects with these games, as opposed to what I do, pick 3 games a week or whatever. And anyone who can sit there and do the marathon with that is, I give him full props, because I've tried it and can't do it.
What's the longest project you've done, or the most intensive project that you've done?
Me or him?
Kevin, since he's our guest.
Second season, I've done full football seasons with second season, 200 and whatever a regular season is of 16 games per team, 32 teams, 250 some maybe.
Wow.
Yeah. What season? What year?
I take best teams of the 2000s, like the best Texans, the best Broncos, the best things like that.
Okay, so it's not like you're taking a team like you have to play the Jets 16 times. Like you're playing with the greatest teams. So there's never a dull game. Or
if there's a great Jets team to
still got to play the Jets,
right? That's debatable.
That's true.
I've done with APA the full 162 with 26 teams, so that's around 2,000 games.
How long did that take?
A little under about a year and a half to 2 years. And to be fair, none of these happened until I retired. I retired from teaching in 2020, and life changed dramatically. My wife, who is just fantastic in understanding the hobby and understanding my enjoyment that I get from it, she has an art studio in our basement. And it doesn't happen this way every day, but more days than not, she'll disappear into the art studio for a few hours, and I'll disappear in here.
Right.
And next thing you know, it's lunchtime, because the time just goes by in a blink. And when you start playing these games like second season and APA, or whatever games people are into, that you play thousands upon thousands, your rhythm and your memorization of the charts, everything just speeds up to the point where I can play a second season game in an hour, and people look at me like I'm nuts, who are newer to that particular game. But it's not that I'm something special. It's clearly just repetition of thousands and thousands memorizing the charts and just calling the plays and just the rhythm of the game, and just it all. Oh, and having a digital dice shaker too, instead of manually
Sure.
rolling the dice, will speed up a little time too. So yeah, my life is set up with no work commitments, and that leaves time to pull off these bigger projects that Ron's talking about.
So second season, we played that with Marco Scola, and we all had a really good time with that game. But you started this whole story with APA football. Is
Mhm.
APA football still in your world, or is second season sort of taken over?
About 10-ish years ago, I gave all of my APA football seasons. I don't know how many there were, 12 to 15 seasons. I gave them all to a good friend, because the game is fine, but I just knew that second season would always be more enjoyable than it. And APA
Well, we
football
need
would
to get
just,
you and Greg Barrett in a room together.
it would just gather dust for me. And I know a little bit about Greg in that he plays a more advanced version, or sometimes he has somebody making cards for him, exclusively for him. And he's playing at a different level that I never experienced. So I don't mean to disparage the game. Second season is just hits all the buttons for me. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, that's really great. I find for myself, I'm not the greatest at, like, if I have a game that I like, I'm not great at saying, well, I should try that game too, because I like this one. Why? I mean, I've done it and I found games that way, but it sounds like you're pretty open-minded, and you hit play games a little later in life,
Mhm.
but after years and years and years, but you just do you play History Maker Baseball also?
I do. I'm in the middle of a project with Kurt Berglund's 50 years set. For people that don't know that, it was Keith Avalon's idea to make a set from players from 1975 to 2024, all franchise teams, like the best. I don't know how many. Is there 30 players per team? The best 30 Yankees from that time period, and for each team. And I'm about 60 games into that, and I'm really enjoying it. But I kind of just put it on pause because I was getting the APA itch, and I hadn't played APA for so long. So I fired up an 84 Cubs replay, and as soon as that's done, I'm going to go back and finish the KB50 History Maker baseball game.
Now you were a teacher for 30 years. What did you teach?
Yeah, I taught third grade for 30 years.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and before I say anything about teaching, if you or anybody watching this has a third grader in your life, just embrace the moment. Those kids, 8, 9-year-olds, they're eager to learn.
Yeah.
They're still childlike. They have that
Yeah.
childlike enthusiasm. They're respectful of adults. They're fairly independent. I wasn't tying shoes or wiping noses in third grade, and they're kids. They're not starting with the preteen and the teen stuff. And that's not to say that every teenager is bad, but the third graders were just the perfect age for me. That I just a lot of people would say to me, are you going to be a principal because I'm a man? And they just had that stereotype of that men eventually work their way up to become administrators. And I was right where I wanted to be. I wanted to be with the kids. I didn't want to deal with all the administrative stuff and evaluating teachers and all the parent discipline things that come up with the kids that you got to talk to the parents about. I was good with just being with those kids every day. Yeah.
I would imagine that there are kids that you taught 30 years ago who you made an impression on and still remember. Because I remember my third grade teacher. I remember all my elementary school teachers. Actually, I remember them better than I remember by far my junior high or high school teachers. And that's because they had so much more of an impact on my life, I think, than the latest. Because by then I didn't give a shit.
We were with them all day too.
Right.
That's the big thing. With the exception of maybe a half hour or an hour a day, you were with that particular person.
I've I don't know how many kids come back over the years. The times that I would see kids years and years later would be conference time. The school district that I taught in had conferences district wide, so the high school kids would be off at the same time as the elementary kids, and sometimes these high school kids would have younger siblings who were in my school. My school was 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade, and they'd come back and they'd be at the door and they'd say, "Hi, Mr. B, do you remember me?" And
Right.
I just stare at them because they're not the little
Right.
8-year-old that they used to
Right.
be. And I'd say, I need a name. If you give me a name, and then as soon as I say the name, then I connect everything with them, and just a lot of really kind words of they talk about their memories and the impact that that they felt that I had in their life at that time. And just the rewards of teaching go so much deeper than just the paycheck
Sure.
every couple of weeks. Yeah.
Did you ever consider, or maybe you actually did, bringing your passion for this hobby into your classroom and teaching these kids, basic games, basic sports games?
I did, but it was a little too hard for them. If I had taught junior high, I think it would have been a better fit. The 3rd graders, I'm just going to be blunt. I taught in a lower socioeconomic class area, so the classes, most of the kids weren't at grade level. So when you say you taught 3rd grade, you were kind of teaching 2nd graders. So now you're talking,
and there's a huge difference
earlier, and it's just a little too much for them. And it's just a little too hard for them.
Yeah, I think for a lot of us, I'm speaking for myself, but I think I might be right about this. You don't really, and Ron always says that 14, and you're right, 14 is sort of that golden year, but you start appreciating sports younger than 14.
Oh, sure. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But the difference between like for me, 7 years old, 2nd grade, I know nothing. But 3rd grade, that's when I really started to pay attention to baseball cards and watching the Mets and actually playing Little League football. That starts at 8 or 9. So there's that big jump between 6, 7, and then 8 to 9. Sports Time Machine says that moan you heard was from Camden Yards. The Yanks are up 3-1 against Baltimore, and that sucks. But he's got his Yankees hat. Okay, I hope he.
Mark, just let you know that Adley Rutschman hit his first home run for the Red Sox tonight.
Stop it!
I love it. Love it.
Double whammy.
Yeah, that would be rough. So, guys, any questions for Kevin? There's some other topics I want to cover with Kevin, and then we have that discussion topic. But do you guys have anything else for Kevin about his teaching career or anything like that?
Well, I was just, when he was talking about the little kids.
Pesky's a teacher, right?
Yeah, well, when he was having his own kids, the little kids, and I know those times when they're young and they're toddlers and you're trying to figure out when to sleep, when to get a moment to yourself. And so I remember during that time, I did not play the hobby much because you just could not get any kind of project going at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so when that age, so I kind of flashed back to those days and being on the sleep there too. But, that's I'm a night owl because my wife goes to bed early. And so when she goes to bed early and the kids go to bed early, that's my time to come down and play my games, and so that's kind of my quiet time. I can sit here and put whatever on TV, on YouTube, on a game from an old game on YouTube on the TV and play my games. So, but yeah, I'm also a teacher, high school teacher. Same thing as you though. I have an admin degree, and they keep on trying to get me into admin. I don't, I have no desire. I like my classroom. I like dealing with my kids, and that's, I don't want to do the other stuff. Same thing. So I've got about 12 more years left, but my daughter's only 11 right now. So I have to wait till she gets off the payroll first.
I think about those toddler years. That was just survival as a human being. If you got 5 hours of sleep a night, then, there were times that I would arrive, say like a Tuesday morning at school at 7 a.m, an hour before the kids got there. And the first thing I did when I got there after the 20-minute drive is put my head down on the desk and just kind of try to gather myself and say to myself, how am I going to get through this day? I'm already exhausted and we haven't even started yet. and I'm going to be dealing with 20 to 25 kids with high energy, and I need to be high energy. And it was just, yeah, it was just trying to keep your head above water.
I
during that time.
I subbed for a year, and I ranged from third grade to high school. Now, I preferred high school because I could give the kids a packet of papers and just keep them kids from killing themselves.
Right.
But the thing I found with the elementary kids is, I mean, it's their attention spans are so much smaller. You've got to keep them engaged with one activity after the other. But you're right; they're.
Hey, John, I'm getting a lot of like noise from your mic. I'm not sure if you have it in some weird place.
Is that a little bit better?
Much better. Yeah,
Okay. I did find that they were a lot more attentive, and if you get the right group of kids, they're great to be with.
Yeah, I noticed I started teaching in was it 91 or 92?
If this keeps up, I'm going to bring my wife in here to finish the interview because she's a teacher. We're so far past sports and games right now. But yeah,
but yeah, that last stretch, 5-ish years of my career, I could just see the attention spans. Just if you compare it to when I started in the early 90s, compared to the attention span in say 2017, it's leaps and bounds different.
Wow.
I had to be an actor and a motivator and a cheerleader, and I had to be so many other things just to keep them engaged into what we were doing that I didn't have to do as much in the 90s.
Well, you're getting the COVID toddlers now, so that I think that makes a difference.
and there's a way to kind of spin this into the topic that John wants to talk about. Well, part of which is how do we pass this hobby on to the younger generation? But before we get there, one of the purposes of this documentary that we're hoping to make, and we plan to make, and we started making actually, is to tell the stories of people in the hobby and how they've used their love of the hobby to help cope with issues in their personal life. And you've talked about dealing with your dad and his battle with dementia.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
And how it's helped?
So the quick background on that is Dad was diagnosed with beginning stages of dementia, like I think maybe 7 years ago. And certainly we saw things at that time. We meaning there's Dad there. My mom, his wife of 62 years now, and I have a younger sibling named Scott and a younger sibling named Robin who live closer to my parents than I do. So we saw Dad with like not remembering names, the beginning stages of dementia. But in the past couple of years, it's really, he's really gone downhill. And I live 2.5 hours away from Dad. So the overwhelming majority of the time, I'm just getting updates from Robin and Scott on the latest news. And to be blunt, the latest news is good maybe one time out of 20. It's usually the next bad thing and the struggles that he's having. So, after those phone calls, certainly the first thing I do is, talk with my wife and just, have that human connection. And she knows the story and just, that I don't mean to diminish that at all. But on top of that, I can come in here and fire up whatever project I'm working on, and I'm lost in it. Dad doesn't have dementia when I'm in the middle of a game and a tie game in the 8th, and I'm thinking of a double switch and a pinch runner or whatever, a relief pitcher. That there is not a problem in the world in those moments. And people who are deeply into the games know exactly what I'm talking about. That you just lose all sense of any real life issue that you're having, and it's such a. I don't think this is discussed enough. It's such an underrated thing in the sense that it's such a healthy release, because there's so many unhealthy releases. I could rattle off a half dozen: alcoholism. There's tons of them, of ways that people are just hurting themselves because of the pressures and the stresses of their lives. And this isn't hurting anybody. This is just a fantastic, and you know, you can even go deeper. You could make an argument that,
I mean, theoretically, you could stab somebody with a pencil.
sure,
It's rare in the hobby, but I'm just, let's just not pretend it doesn't happen.
you could make an argument. My dad's mom had dementia, and she lived until 93 in the last 10, 15 years in the home. And dad, the problem that he's having now at age 82, and he's been having a few years, my odds of having these issues later in life are higher than the average person because of the genetics involved. But you could make the argument that these games could actually save me from that, because my brain is so engaged in these things. And not only when I'm playing the games, when I'm thinking about the projects, or I'm doing the stats, or I'm looking over the stats, whatever, you could make a solid argument that these games save people from having dementia. I really, truly believe that.
I'd agree with that.
I think, staying engaged in a hobby, using your brain, continuing to read, continuing to want to learn new things, I think is also important. So if to take that to our hobby, don't just keep replaying the 1957 season, because you remember it from when because you're older than you, obviously. Play the 2026 season, the 2025 season. Learn the names of the newer players. I think that can be really helpful as you get older. At 60, you start to think about your physical health, and you make the changes and the adjustments to make sure that that you're going to be around for a while. But you also start to think a little bit about that stuff and where your brain's going to go. And I think that you just said it. The key is to stay active and keep your brain engaged. I completely agree.
My mom is 74. She says she does a word search every day in the morning, just to keep her mind active, just for that reason.
Learn chess, play chess. You don't have to play it well, but just the fact that things are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So when you were a kid, Kevin, and we need to get to John's topic here, but last question.
Sure.
Was your dad? I know your dad hit his ABBA football game from you. We know that. But was he engaged with you? I mean, we have that picture that I just put up. I'll put it up again of you guys playing. That's photoelectric football, right?
That one's NFL strategy.
Oh, that's right, right.
It looks like, by the way that I'm dressed, it was Christmas Day or later Christmas Day, and we were breaking it out for the first time that day.
Look at that TV guy. Did you guys see that?
That's great.
That is amazing.
And the plaid pants and the thermostat was probably set to 68.
Dad looks like a handsome guy.
Yeah, he was in his prime there for sure. He would play the games with me, but in little bits and pieces. The thing that he was more engaged with was the actual sport itself. Like when I played Little League Baseball, Aurora had two branches, the 8, 9, and 10-year-old league, and then the 11 and 12-year-old league. And in the 8, 9, and 10-year-old league, I had a great 3 years, and I was a good player, not a great player. But when I went up to the next league and I got drafted as an 11-year-old, that manager managed to just plop me on the bench and play me, one inning and one at bat per game. And years later, my dad and I talked about it. He would sit in the stands and he would just stew. He was just so upset, not only because his son wasn't playing much, but just, he told me years later that he just would watch the decisions that the guy made and everything. And he came to the decision by the end of that season that he just wasn't going to let me go through that again the next year. So he said to himself, I don't know how good I can be at this, but I know I can be better than that guy. So that winter or early spring the next year, he took a team. And of course, I got automatically moved to his team. And I had the absolute best summer of my entire life. I went from a 3-15 team to a 15-3 team. I went to positive praise and just sports was such a huge part of my life. And it was such a downer to step into this environment where everything was losing and non-instructive and just sucking the joy out of all of it. And then this man just decided he wasn't going to let that happen. And he ended up coaching the Little League for 15, 16, 17 years, even after
looks like your dad used to also like to steal the miniatures from his TWA flight.
Well, those are probably there.
Flying Eastern Airlines.
Those are probably there after dealing with me and Robin and Scott after all day. He needed a little release.
I mean, this is the best 70s picture. You've got a broken down electric football. You got a half lit father trying to play photoelectric football. This is going in the documentary. I promise.
The funny thing is that I had that game. I had that exact electric football game I bought it for Christmas as well. And I gotta find some picture. I got a picture of me and my dad, the same thing. So it's just kind of.
Well, we're looking. I mean, in fact, I can start putting a call out. We really need a lot of photos for this documentary. So I really want to get photos. Anything any of you have, and if it's not you playing APA and it's you with electric football, so be it. But we want to really establish that father-son connection. So Pesky, yeah, please find that stuff, and mother-son and mother-daughter and all that stuff. But anyway, so John, why don't you introduce, and we'll spend a little bit of time, the topic idea that you had, and we'll have Kevin join us in covering this a little bit.
Sure. We've been doing this podcast show stream for about 5 or 6 months now.
April, May, June,
March.
August. About 5 months.
About 5 months, yeah. And I think what we have initially seen with that short reel that you got from APA, at least to me, it's the light bulb's starting to go on to what this whole project can become. So I wanted to kind of redirect our thinking, at least temporarily, to focus on what this documentary is trying to accomplish. And part of that, I believe, is like with Kevin and his dad. I know some people who intentionally interview their elders. They want to put them on videotape. Tell me the stories about World War II. Tell me about the Great Depression.
Actually, Winnette, the person who's working with us, the documentary filmmaker, she did that with her mother and learned some incredible things about her grandmother that she's now using in something that she's working on.
Right. So I think this documentary can be a multi-faceted.
See if you can do something about your microphone, because we're getting a lot of pop in, and it's better.
Okay. I think this documentary can be a multifaceted item to where it can be a time capsule for future generations, as far as our recollections of the hobby and the past games and the connections we've had. But it also brings up a question of how is this hobby going to be translated to the next generation and the generations after that? Is it going to be social media that people find out about this from? Is it going to be in a more personal level?
You said translated. You don't mean you mean transferred.
Transferred, yeah. How it's going to be handed down from generation. Right. Is it going to be through social media? Is it going to be through one-on-one contact with your siblings or your children, or is it going to be, things like this documentary? It's at least to me, it's interesting to see where that responsibility is going to fall on that, how it's going to be handed down.
Well, I think there's a lot there, and I don't think we won't have as much time to talk about this as I would like, but again, this can be a starter for something that we talk about next week. For me, I think that one of the biggest challenges with this documentary is, I've got a lot of 10 interviews that we did at APA, and one of the questions I asked everybody is, how'd you get started in the hobby? and they all told some version similar to what this Kevin story. But that happened 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, in one case 70 years ago. So them coming on camera and telling that story is fine, but it won't hold people's attention in a documentary. You can't. So you need to do it visually. So you need to be able to. You need the photos is kind of what I'm saying. You need reenactments. You can do these sort of abstract, reenactments of when Kevin is talking about finding the Appa game. You don't need to have a full scene with a child and and period music and all that. It can just be a little boy's hand reaching behind something and pulling out an Appa game. So those are the things that will help connect the past to the present and to the to draw you in to the story. And as far as passing it down, yes, the documentary, again, one of the purposes is to not I got dinged really badly by some people when Ron and I, and not that I give that much of a shit, but when Ron and I did James Cass podcast, because I said, and we announced the documentary, I said something about how I don't want, I don't want to just shoot, middle-aged white guys in a conference room. But I went to APA and that's what is there. And I'm one of them. So it's not like, what I'm saying? I get that. We, as filmmakers, as producers, we have to find creative ways to make it clear that we were once their age.
Right.
We were once 13 and 14. And even if, you're in video game land, we didn't have video game. Go ahead, John.
Well, let me, and that's a great point. And one thing that I just popped into my head is one thing we might be able to capture or recapture in this case would be, it seems that culturally things go back to the way things were. People are going back to vinyl records. Dumb phones are starting to come back now. So now that the kids are in this video game age, is there an evolution to where it backtracks back to more of a card and dice realm where we can grab a hold of that? And
go ahead. I would say that is sports still special? The six of us grew up in a generation where you got a national game one day a week.
Look,
and so to have the experience to be able to play something at any time you wanted was so different from what you were able to see. I mean, Mark grew up in Metro New York, so the Mets and the Yankees were on an awful lot. But I mean, that's, for me, that was the case. This stuff just wasn't on. And in this generation, Mike's kids today, everything's on. Everything is available at any point.
I guess where I'm not following you, Ron, is I'm not sure how that speaks to what John's saying, because all John is asking is, just like kids today have rediscovered vinyl.
No, let me finish.
Okay, sure.
For all of us, having a game on television or being given a game on the radio was a special treat. And once we found these games, we could have that treat at any point. Today, everything is available at any time. And in fact, as people clean out their VHS collections, all the stuff from 50 years ago is now finding its way onto. You don't have to watch me play 1986. You can watch what really happened in 1986. And so for these kids, no, let me finish. And so
I completely disagree. No, you finish first.
Let me finish. Okay. And so I think today, I just don't think that sports holds the same magic overall for this younger generation of people as it did for us, because it's just constantly there. It's not something that comes in the mail like Sports Illustrated or the Sporting News or whatever. It's just always there, and it's now also competing with everything else, with the attention spans that was talked about earlier.
you to be honest, I feel, and I love you to death. You know that. I
Right.
think you're making John's point for him, and I'll tell you why. You're saying things like there's there's so much of it that nobody cares. John is pointing out, and he's right, that the younger generation is going back to vinyl. So that's exactly the point.
And I think that's kind of overrated.
Hold on. The fact is, they can go to Spotify. They can go
Right.
to this, to that, to
Right.
and find music 24 hours a day and have their little personalized playlist.
Right.
But instead, a certain percentage of them, obviously not the average kid, but a certain percentage of them, they are coming back to vinyl. So that, to me, that offers hope.
I don't think the hobby's going to go anywhere.
You look at the attendance, attendance across all the sports. It's still popular. The NFL is as popular as ever. Soccer with this World Cup I don't think Ron, as ever.
Ron wasn't saying that it wasn't.
I'm not saying that sports are popular. Yeah, I'm saying it's not special.
Right.
When everything is available all the time, there is no real anticipation of it's Saturday afternoon. It's Monday Night Baseball. It's Sunday. I mean, look what the NFL's doing is Sundays. It used to be that, you could put on, you'd start at 1 and you were done at 7 and there was a game Monday night. And now it's Thursday and there's games now on Christmas Eve. It's just there.
It's diluted.
It's all diluted. I mean, and if you're playing a sport today, and as Mike's kids can attest, they play one sport. When I worked with the kid, when I was covering the Nationals, it was a pitcher, blew out his arm. He never played anything but baseball. It was his job. It wasn't special. It wasn't, we're playing baseball in baseball season. We're playing football in football season. We're playing basketball in basketball season. Their life was that sport. And it's like with anything else.
Pesky's kids, they do play everything, don't they?
Well, I mean, I got a 14-year-old son. He's a freshman in high school, and he just plays baseball now. And just he likes their sports, but it's clear to him that if he plays other sports, like for instance, right now it's fall, all right, it's not baseball season, but the baseball high school program, they have they have fall workouts. They have
right.
Fall
so he's locked
season.
in. He's locked into baseball because he thinks that's the one sport that can take.
He can go play football, but then if he does that, then he's like, well, I'm not.
Right.
I'm losing on him. So you have to make a choice. But my son is a lot like me in terms of how I was at 14. He loves sports, but he watches it really differently than I watch it. He's a Braves fan. He doesn't sit and watch a whole game. He gets stuff done to his phone. Yeah. Oh, Acuna. And so.
Well, we do that now.
He sees the whole game, but
we do that.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. But when I was 14. I couldn't watch a Red Sox game. And so they're on Saturday afternoons, and I read the paper. I got the paper to find out if they won or not. And then when ESPN came on, I would put on SportsCenter, not knowing if the Red Sox won. I'd watch the highlights to see if they won. And you're sitting there going, man.
So again, guys, what I'm trying to do is keep this tied into John's premise.
Yeah. Right. And we have been.
Okay.
It's, again, in order for someone to take up something from a hobby, it has to be considered special. The 6 of us consider that time that we spent all special. And if it's no longer special, then they're not going to want to revisit it.
Kevin, go ahead.
My last full year of teaching was 2019. We had a book report that we assigned that had to be a biography. And I let the kids pick whoever they wanted to pick. I had 12 boys in that room. 10 of the boys of those 12 picked Steph Curry that they wanted to do the biography book report on. If I had a tabletop basketball game to offer them at that time, they would have played the heck out of the Golden State Warriors with Steph Curry.
And the point I want to make, and I can agree with Ron, but I still think even if the sports are diluted as far as what we can consume, kids are still going to have a favorite player. They're still going to have a favorite team, and I think that would translate easy into the board, card and dice gameplay, just like it was back in the when we were kids.
I mean,
I think the target age, instead of being 10 to 14, should be 18 to 24. For the reason being, just as Kevin said, because those players that you watched at 10 or 12 years old are starting to retire. And so they're not going to be front and center anymore. But
what Kevin said actually was that they would play the games at 10 or 12.
Those kids would have at that
He's
time.
saying that they would. He's saying that they would play.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I understand your point, Ron, and I think there is something to that. There comes a point in your life where that's where we are, where you're longing to play the guys you grew up with.
Mhm.
I don't think that happens at 18 to 24, because 18 to 24 happens, lots of other things start happening.
Right.
And I don't know but I think that, again, going back to John's kind of how do we pass this down? The reality is, here's how it's going to get passed down. Unfortunately, it's going to get passed down when some of us die and we have younger relatives who remember us playing and they want to own the copy of the games that we had, and they pick them up and they decide, hey, I like this. I want to play grandpa's game, or I want to play dad's game, or Uncle Mark's game, or whatever it is. That's one way it sticks around. But also it sticks around, again, because I think what John's point about the vinyl, it'll become a novelty thing at some point. You know, maybe it's some kid playing it. I mean, it could literally be, you know, some Disney star kid who, you know, is 13, 14 years old. They do a movie where he's playing his dad's Strat game. Next thing you know, every kid in America wants to play Strat. You know what I mean? So it could come that way.
Well, you would think that we'd have cultivated a full generation of 18 to 35-year-olds through fantasy and daily fantasy. I mean, it's the one thing I think that Strat does well is pitch themselves as the original fantasy game. And for the common stories of most of this panel doing draft leagues, you're able to play your fantasy team.
And also, it does seem like younger people are playing OOTP, right? To more of an extent than they do APA or Strat.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So there's something there. But again, that's the sort of that video game thing. You know,
well, the difference between
quality.
OOTP and that is that you're in complete control of the franchise,
right? Which kids
which theoretically we all were with our APA, Strat, or whatever we played. We could trade those players back and forth.
Right.
The work is being done on the computer as opposed to 10-year-olds coming up with the free agency system.
So, you know, obviously, go ahead, John.
Gaming is not dead.
Overall,
no, not at all.
I mean, Gen Con this year drew 74,000 people.
Yeah, no, I know.
So
and
it's there. So
yeah, I think
you know the right way.
We should have a conversation, and it may become a slightly not heated is the wrong word, but you know we're going to have differing opinions on what we think will work and won't work. I mean, I think, and we'll wrap this up here. I mean, I think one thing that we all agree on, I assume, is that the industry hasn't done the greatest job at passing it down and getting it in front of younger eyes.
It has to put this stuff on phones.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
argued this years ago.
And give people the ability to still roll their own dice. Because part of the love of this game is the tactile thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, we need to get to the game here. We're going to be playing some Diamond Mind.
I'd rather actually argue this, to be honest.
Okay, well,
no, I'd rather have this conversation.
That's great, but we're not going on right now because we have to do a head-to-head game.
We can have this conversation. Let's have this conversation. Why do we got to do a head-to-head game? Why do we got to change the subject?
I was my son, my three sons, they play video games, and it drives me nuts because they never take one team and play a season. I go, why don't you like play they try to collect like all-stars and build this. You know, and they do these things online. I go, why don't you just take like franchise mode? That's boring, Dad. That's boring. I go take the Braves and see if you can win a World Series with them. No, I like having I like getting my my perfect team together. And so they do like that's their thing. And like same with they play the NBA 2K. They do all these all-star teams. They kind of gather these players. I go, just why don't you take like the Knicks and try to win, this year? No, we don't do that. That's stupid. So they play a different way than like for me, like that would be how I play a game. Like, man, let me take this team and see if I can win with them. They're like, no, we got this team, and they've got like collection of guys and all that stuff. So it's just a different, I don't know, the mindset. So I'm not sure what it'll be like when they're 50 years old. What they'll do to relive their childhood sports things. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Ron?
Yeah, no, and I think especially with the way that the video games are set up now, you can establish yourself as your own career, which is how we all did the Genesis stuff and all that, and make that experience immersive. And again, some people will want to graduate out of that, whether it's a physical thing for that, or they become a slightly nostalgic, or the results aren't realistic. For that. And again, I think OOTP, Football Manager, same way. Again, that you can have so much control with that. How does that translate to cards and dice? They're going to have to get melded. Some people will always play cards and dice, and then you'll have people who only play like OOTP games.
All right, so now I'm going to take my break, and then John and I are going to play our Diamond Mind.
I really wish we could continue this conversation.
We can on a different show, Ron. On a different episode, we can.
All right. Well, have fun playing the game.
Okay. Kevin, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You did a great job. We'd love to have you on again.
Anytime. Just
take care.
Happy to join you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Enjoy your retirement.
Thanks.
So since we've now created some tension here, let's deal with that. On this show on Tuesday nights, we play a game head to head.
I know, but we also have to. No, let me finish because I'm going to leave after this.
I haven't finished yet.
No, I'm leaving after this.
Why are you so angry, Ron?
Because you wanted this topic, and we talked about it for 15 minutes, so we could watch the two of you play the 27 Yankees and 76 Reds.
Right.
Which is the exact opposite argument for the topic of the show.
But we can have we can devote. Hold on, you're not, Ron. You're being very. You're not thinking about the show right now.
No, I'm not.
I'm
thinking about the conversation that you
stopped. The conversation can happen as a 2-hour roundtable discussion.
But why did we need to stop the conversation in the middle of it?
Because it was getting circular. And I looked at the clock, and we're at.
We don't need to stop to the stupid clock.
We're at an hour, and what do you mean? We don't want to do a 3-hour show.
All right, I guess I'm done for tonight.
Well, I don't understand why you're so upset, Ron.
I'm not.
I really don't. I mean, normally we do a 2-hour show, right?
I know we do a 2-hour show.
So when I see that we're at the hour and 10 mark, it seems like this is the time we should do our game.
I think. I'm not going to agree or disagree with either, but I can see Ron's point to where this topic had momentum. And I know you say it was kind of circular, but and sometimes we go off on a different tangent. And maybe sometimes the tangent could be, let's keep this going. I'm okay to play one game of DMB instead of a best of 3.
Sure.
And I think we'll naturally find a point to where the conversation is going to, ebb and flow to a conclusion, but
which I thought it kind of had. I mean,
no, it hadn't.
Ron, you got to stop yelling.
No,
at me,
I'm leaving.
This is Ron. Please don't do that, Ron.
No, I'm just getting angry, and that's not what this show.
Okay,
about.
so the better thing to do.
No, I'm leaving.
You think that's the best thing?
Yes, I do.
You don't want to call this game for us?
No. I don't.
We'd like you to stay.
I'm done for the night.
All right. Well, that honestly, I don't really know what to say, guys. I mean, I don't think I did anything. I certainly didn't do anything intentionally wrong. I just was kind of following the what our show is, and head to head has always been an important thing from day one.
I think we've got enough alphas in the room that can appear to we have a a habit of interrupting each other, and I think sometimes when that builds to a head, that stuff like that can happen. So I don't know whether or not he thought he wasn't being heard, or I think I don't think it was that more than just the at the hour point we got to stop no matter what we're doing.
Right.
We're not tied to a commercial break. We're not tied to
Well, I mean, and honestly, it wasn't. I mean, look, all I can say is this: I certainly wasn't trying to stomp on Ron's opinion or your opinion or Pesky's opinion. I mean, that's just not the person that I am. I'm opinionated. I think we all are opinionated, and we should be. That's part of what makes us good at doing this. All I did was felt like, you brought up the topic. We had talked about it. You said what I thought was made some really good points. We talked about passing it on to the next generation, but I knew that, at that point we were like an hour 5 in. It just seemed like we should probably get to the game. And when Ron just sort of like really sort of snapped, I didn't really know how important it was to him that we actually. I thought he would just ultimately say, okay, yeah, that's fine. Let's do the game, because that's what we've been. And maybe that's just my background in what I do. But in my mind, we have a 2-hour show, roughly our first hour. And we've had interviews that have gone way past an hour or somewhat past an hour. But I mean, look, all I can say, guys, is I've done nothing but, be supportive of Ron and this documentary and working my ass off. And I'm just, I'm sorry that he got upset. I don't really know what to say about that.
I think it's just that he was trying to finish his point a few times and he couldn't finish it. I think that's what got frustrated for Ron, from watching him. I think he was trying to kind of finish out what he was trying to get to, and I think that's what kind of got him to that point.
Well, I mean, I hope you guys know me well enough to know by now that I would never deliberately do something to
I don't think it was deliberate. I don't think
or any of you.
Yeah, I don't think it was deliberate.
I think it started a lot earlier than that, when, if you remember, he was making a point earlier and he kept saying, let me finish. And I think the percolating started.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just that, but it was a combination of everything. And the point, the stopping of the clock to go to the game, I think, was the straw that broke the camel's back. So.
I could see that, but again, it wasn't intentional. And one of the things that is difficult about this process is, even though yes, we can see each other, sometimes you don't know when someone's finished talking, and you don't want the dead air, so that leads to interrupting each other. I think that actually, given the fact that we've been together now 5 months, we do a pretty good job of mitigating that. But tonight it just happened. So what do we do now?
I
mean, if we continue the conversation, that's not going
to. I honestly think that, in respect to Ron and deference to him, if we have any more conversation on this topic, that we wait till the dust settles, and that we can all get back together again, and then continue it. I don't think it's.
No,
right.
I definitely don't. I'm completely, yes. There's no universe where I think the four of us should talk about this without Ron. I think that would be okay. I can't even imagine doing that. So I think it's either are we wrapping the night, or are we playing the game? I would like to play the game, because that's what we do.
Well,
and that's part
we've
of
got 17 people watching. Why don't they chime in, and do they still want to see the game?
To me, that's like me being on stage and asking the audience, "Do you guys want more comedy?" And you don't necessarily know what the answer to that question is going to be. So what you should probably do is do another bit. is what you should do. Let's play. I'm going to take my break.
I say play the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, I'm sorry, Ron. I'll call him later on. Hopefully we can straighten it out. I certainly didn't mean to upset him or offend him. That was, it's not who I am. I hope you guys know that. And I hope that he knows that. I think he does, you know. But sometimes things happen. All right, I'm going to take my break. I'll be right back.
All right. That was
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah, that's well, you know what? That's it's not our Jim Rome moment, but you know,
Yeah.
That's true. So so John, you have Diamond Mind?
Yes.
Okay. But it was funny. I never bought it, but I remember I first heard about it when Terry Francona was interviewing for the Red Sox job. The Red Sox made him play Diamond Mine baseball in
Oh,
the
wow.
room for his job interview, and like make decisions, and they would channel it. Like, and that's when I first heard about it. I was like, wait, I go,
Yeah,
I never heard it before.
It used to be Pursue the Pennant, and I've been playing this since the mid to late 90s. And Tom Tippett, who was the original creator of the game, became an employee of the Red Sox.
Okay.
They used that game for for analytics and stuff like that. And then Tom sold it to Dane Myers back in probably 15, 20 years ago.
Was there an issue when that got? I think I remember reading that people didn't like, or when the transition happened, there's something with the game happened that people didn't like it as much, or something. I forgot what the thing was.
Dane he bought the game engine for the sole purpose of an online forum. Okay. There's a thing called Imagine Sports. That's the Diamond Mine version of Abago and the computer version of the online version of Strat. So that's been going for a while. It uses the Diamond Mine engine. It's not Abago is worlds beyond what Imagine Sports has, but at the same time, they pledged and they have kept their promise up to maintain the computer version of the game. They've done a couple of version updates since. They put a season disc out every year. There's still a pretty active forum on it. So it's probably the most statistically accurate game that I've
I've heard I've heard the play-by-play is really good too.
The play-by-play is fantastic. Yeah. Jack Wood did the play-by-play. He passed a couple of years ago. But yeah, and you've got the option, if you know how, to get into the game and actually alter the play-by-play, and you can add or change some of the wording on that. But yeah, the play-by-play is fantastic.
I've come close to buying it. Yeah, I guess for me, I love PC replay baseball so much, and I play it so much that I go, why would I buy? If I buy this, am I gonna like it more than PC replay? So, but I'm sure I'll splurge at some point and buy it and do that too. But
yeah, I've been in seasons past baseball, which is our draft leagues for Diamond Mine since '92. So we still got 5 leagues going within that umbrella of leagues. So with drafts, and I'm starting up the 1989 season here at the end of this month. So we just have to draft for that.
There.
Yeah, it is. It is
good. Yeah, I'm playing 1990 right now, and I'm playing every single game, and I'm everyone. I mean, it's going to take a long time. I don't care. Like I'm on game 9 for every team right now. The Padres just won 7 in a row. They're 7-2. But Bo Jackson won Player of the Week the first week. But just fun. All those lineups I remember. I mean, I was 14 years old. It's kind of that time where you knew every lineup, every player. So
it's like Mark's close to coming back on here. He's texting. I can make a good guess on who he's texting.
Yeah.
So I set up Diamond Mine here beforehand. We've got Hamachi. We're all set up and connected with that. We're still connected on Diamond Mine. I've got the player pictures loaded. I've got a couple old stadium photos loaded, and I increased the font size for the scoreboard and the play-by-play. So hopefully visually it'll be a little bit more better to see for the audience.
Yeah, it's another thing to the visuals. Like I was getting confused. When you buy the game, does it come like the park pictures? Does that come separate? Does it buy that separately? All that stuff, or you can
yeah, it comes with generic park pictures, but the community has tons of images, and you can use images from almost any game.
Okay,
as long as it's a JPEG. to
So I can
import
put
into the
Mike
game.
Silva. I think Mike Silva's in here earlier. I could put Mike Silva's pictures in there.
Yes,
If you
is
wanted
there a
to. Okay.
JPEG format? Yep,
Yep.
by all means.
Okay. Well, that's if I can ever use Mike Silva's pictures, then the game.
Yeah. So we've got.
I love. Someone the other day asked me on Facebook, where can I find some park pictures? I go to the community forums for Out of the Park Baseball and just take Mike Silva's. Those things are the best.
You know, guys, I have to say that I am so upset right now because besides my wife, literally besides my wife, the person I would least want to upset, offend, pick your word, would be Ron. That's how close he and I have become over the last several months. I wish I could take it all back, have let him continue the conversation. When he said, let's not play the game, I could have just said, okay, let's not play it. I felt in that moment committed to, everybody needs to understand this. I felt, or I hope can understand this. I felt committed to, John had set up the game. This is what we do. This is what we do. It says very clearly in the social media stuff, Diamond Mine Baseball tonight. It seemed like we needed to move on from where we were, or it was going to be another hour of conversation, which I knew wouldn't be good. So we
don't know that.
What?
I mean, it depends on how fruitful the conversation.
No. When I say it wouldn't be good, no. What I mean by that is if we did
good television.
I'm saying if we did a 2-hour conversation and then went to the game and we ended up on 3 hours or 3.5 hours,
I would have been okay to punt the game, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
So
okay. Well, I didn't know that. I guess here's what I probably should have. I mean, look, it's kind of, I'm the guy who's been sort of like introducing the guests and that stuff. So there's a responsibility that I feel that it's my job to make sure that things are moving in a direction. What I should have done is I should have put it to a vote right then and there when Ron said, hey, let's keep talking about this. I was afraid to do that because I didn't know that look, whatever. I made a mistake. I'm sorry.
You're human. We're all human. Don't worry. It's the dust will settle and
we'll get through it.
Families squabble and they, so it's.
I texted Ron. I said, I'm really sorry I upset you. I hope you understand it wasn't done deliberately. He said, I know it wasn't deliberate. And then he gave me a smiley face, I think, of some sort. I mean, Ron, if you want to come back, and again, let's pick a day and do a roundtable discussion and do this for 2 hours. What were you saying, John? Because I'm still trying to like.
Oh no! I was just trying to give you a pep talk. That's all. We're all human, and it's when the dust settles, it'll families squabble and get back together again, and so it's yeah.
All right. Well, this 3-game series better be better than last year's World Series. That's all I can say. This better be the best 3 games of baseball anybody has ever played.
When we get started, we'll figure out within the first couple of innings how quickly we want the play-by-play
and then we'll see,
to go along, and then we'll go on there. But I'm picking that's why you can't see my screen because you're in remote mode, so I'm going to pick.
Before I go to mine, let me get us up on the screen here because it's always better when you can see our faces.
I have a bad feeling it's going to cost me money tonight watching this game. I'm going to buy into the game tonight. I'm going to blame John.
Yeah, I had it years ago.
I've come close to buying it. I've come close several times. I don't know if I
mean, there are things about this game that I think make it the best baseball game out there. Mm-hmm. But I do think, originally I didn't even know about this game until like 1997, I think was the first year that I had. It was because I had the 97. I remember it was that year's World Series. And I had heard that it was like it had something to do with Pursue the Pennant. But if you remember, we had Mike Sislinski on, and that's true, but not that true. But it's very user friendly, don't you think, John?
Oh yeah, once you get the buttonology done, it's real easy. And importing and exporting stats is a breeze for league play, and yeah, it doesn't have the home run, it doesn't have the ball going over the wall, but other than that, it's good. And I think the only thing that's being blocked is the catcher and the ball strike counts. You're really not missing much with all these pictures.
I mean, I mean, if you guys think I should take our pictures off, I could, but I feel like then they're
well,
just
how's that? Can you see,
that works.
that way?
That's fine for me. I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're playing head to head, this green light is on my screen, so I will be making the since Cincinnati's up, the pitcher will decide first. So
we've got Pete Rose leading off, Ken Griffey batting second, Joe Morgan bats third, Johnny Bench bats fourth, Tony Perez at first bats fifth, wow, what a lineup. George Forster at left bats sixth, Dave Concepcion the shortstop batting seventh, Cesar Geronimo the center fielder bats eighth, and Don Gullett will be pitching for the Reds.
And then for the Yankees, Bob Musial in left, Earl Combs in center, Lou Gehrig in first, Babe Ruth in the right field, Tony Lazzeri at second, Pat Collins behind the plate, or Earl Koenig at short. Let's see here, Joe Dugan at third, and Waite Hoyt is your starting pitcher.
And I'm about to swing, right? Here we go.
Yes.
You want to call it?
One ball in row is Hoyt Firel's ground ball to second, not hit hard. Lazzeri up. I think you can actually read it pretty good on the screen.
Yeah,
you don't think you need to slow it down a little bit? Well, but we should still call it, John.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let's see, there's one out for Griffey. And the pitch, one sharply hit the Dugan, takes it across for the out, 5-3 for out number 2. And Joe Morgan is up. Hopefully a 1-2-3 inning for Waite Hoyt.
I can see him flapping his elbow right now. Joe Morgan.
Pitch on the way.
There we go.
Deep right. Innovate, not here. Roof has time, room to spare in the spacious Yankee Stadium for out number 3.
Who says Babe can't play defense?
Bottom of the first, Yankees up. Bob Musial will lead off, the left fielder. Then Earl Combs center. Lou Gehrig at first. Babe Ruth at right. Tony Lazzeri, the second baseman. Collins, what's his first name? Is it Rip? Is that Rip Collins?
Pat Collins.
It's not. It's Pat Collins. Koenig, the shortstop. Joe Dugan in third, and Waite Hoyt, of course, is batting ninth and pitching. And here we go. First pitch from Gullett.
Back on the rubber, pitch to Musial. Oh, it's a bunt attempt down the third base line, but goes foul.
And you can play a game of this head to head in 15 minutes sometimes.
Ball 4.
Minutes. All right, Musial is on.
Bench with an excellent arm, so Musial probably will not run. One pitch in the dirt. Ooh, nice save by Bench.
Good job, Johnny.
Gullett throws. Perez reaches. Musial safe. Oh, he's trying to pick him off. The count is 1-1. Gullett set 1-1. It's off and running. It's a hit and run down the right field line. He's on the track. He can't get it. Tops the fence. And Musial's around third. And let's see.
Try for home?
Should I try for home? Griffey, you see, it hits in the top of the fence.
One thing that's important about this game, for people who don't know, is you don't have the thing that like Action PC has or even Appago.
You don't have the percentages.
You don't have the percentages. You have to get a feel.
By feel. Yep.
Right.
I'll try.
Cool. Am I going to throw? Yes. Morgan with the relay. It'll be thrown. And he got him.
Oh. All right. Will he intentionally walk Gehrig to bring Ruth up? No, he won't.
That's just putting somebody else on base.
Swings, and he's out. Ruth is up now. Runner on second. 3-1. Gullett, fastball inside, walks Ruth. You wanted no piece of him. And Tony Lazzeri, not exactly chopped liver either. Behind Ruth. High pop foul, back out of play. Bella deals down the leap. Down
Oh.
the line. He won't get it. Extra bases. Combs scores. Babe Ruth makes the turn. And I will
Foster's got an
hold Ruth.
excellent arm, but there are 2 outs, right? Okay. Second and third. All right, hold on. Let's see. Pat Collins batted. He had a 407 on base percentage. I'm gonna walk him. I think.
Yeah, this one obviously doesn't have lefty righty splits. I don't think. Let's see.
Oh, because it's not the not the Lux versions.
Yeah, there's no lefty righty. So we got the bases loaded for Matt Koenig, a 285 hitter. Waiting for the pitch.
I just got a text from Dobreski. He lost power in his house.
Oh,
I think that's what he said. Hold on, let me take a look. Our power just flickered, and he's going to try to reboot. All right, let me get back to the game. Bases loaded, 2 outs.
0-2. Gullet's
Pops him
pitch
up.
popped up. Short center
All right.
field. Can of corn. Morgan takes it for
All
out
right,
number 3.
we'll take it. Just
One run is across the board. Yeah, that was a lot of high stress pitching for just that one inning.
That's because the pitcher's very stressed right now.
Bench walks.
Walked him. Tony Perez.
Are you performing transference on your team there, Mark?
Exactly.
Yeah. Bench holds 2-0 pitch. Rips the left center. Hits to the wall. Bench is rounding third.
Not going to test Musel's excellent arm, so no.
So now we got 2 on, no out for George Foster.
Hit 29 homers that year.
Oh, let's see here. I am going to. Okay.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
2
That's going to
run
be 2
double.
runs.
All
I'll
right.
give the redheads the lead here. Now, can you see I think you can see my defensive choices on the screen when I make them.
No, I can't.
Oh, so for example,
I can only see what I can do.
Can you? So you can't see what I just put on the screen under defense and infield on the lower right.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, you're
okay.
playing.
Yeah, so
playing corner.
It gives away what I'm doing.
Oh, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It shows me that it's showing me what I would be able to see, which is that you're playing.
But I'm sharing my screen. But the point is, if I'm playing you actually head to head, you would not see ready corners on your screen.
I would
when it's your turn. Trust me. That's
you sure?
I don't know. You will not. Because that's the whole idea is to hide your managerial strategy from the other manager. So. I mean, he'll play honor system on it.
No. But John, in this case, batter comes up. He sees whether guys are playing in or not. That's when you decide to bunt or not bunt. In baseball, you know what? I'm changing my mind. I agree with whatever you say. I love you. You are my heart and soul.
All right. Continue.
There we go.
Another shot toward the gap. Oh. No, Musial runs it down. Oh, saves Hoyt from sheer embarrassment. And we've got 1 out for Geronimo. See, we got Gullet coming up, so I am going to intentionally walk Cesar for Gullet.
Okay. And he walked him.
Of course, he's going to go figure. Oh, okay.
Still only 1 out.
Pete rose up with 1 out. Got to play for the double play.
First, he's got it. They turn it.
Oh, up the middle. Gliss left, steps in the bag. Go to first. They turn the double play.
Wow.
Now, if you noticed in the play-by-play, let me go back to the replay. If you notice at the very beginning, it has Charlie Hustle. So there has nicknames in the player creation. Well, Mike Dobreski isn't here, but if he watches this after the fact, that's one of the highlights of this game is you can actually put player nicknames, and it translates to the play-by-play. So,
right, you can actually change some of the play-by-play, can't you?
yes, you can. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mentioned that too while you were on break. Yeah, you can actually
Right.
go into the text files and add stuff, change stuff. Yeah. All right. Let's see if we can take the lead again.
All right.
One out. Hoyt, 222 hitter, full count. Pop up short to left, and Foster is going to be there. Can of corn for round number 2. Pesky pole, thunderstorm passing through here. I'm watching. Oh, good. So he mentioned, hopefully he heard what I saw about the nicknames. All right, Musials up, top of the order. Walk last time up, and a 1-2 breaking ball bouncing into the strike zone, and Musial is down on strikes to end inning number 2. Hoyt had a rough second. Let's see if he
And you
can
can
bounce
see how
back
fast
third
this game
against
can
Griffey.
play.
Hoyt gives up. I mean, yeah, this play-by-play can just go by lightning quick,
Right.
too. Griffey draws the walk. Hoyt has walked 4 and struck out none so far in this game.
Stolen base.
Throws wide. He's in with a steal. That's not what the Yankee fans want to see.
One away for Johnny Bench.
I think this is the first
Okay.
time I'm rooting for you, Mark. It's the Yankees. They can't root for the Yankees.
This is in third past Collins after it. Here comes Griffey. It's going to be a plate to plate, and he's safe. Oh, 3-1 on a wild pitch by Wade Hoyt. Not has his best stuff today. That is for sure. Base is empty for Bench. 3-ball count, and he draws a walk. And it's time to start thinking about getting the bullpen going here.
Oh, and you can actually play this game where you have to warm up your pitchers.
Right.
Yeah.
There's one. Oh.
2-run shot for Perez.
The manager slowly trots to the mound, and will be making a pitching change here.
I think what I started to say before is there was a time, and I didn't finish my thought. There was a time when the consensus was that Diamond Mine was the most accurate game.
I think it is
there.
still.
Is it more accurate than Action PC?
Yes, and when I was part of the behind the scenes testing for some of the past season discs, and Jim Wheeler has a utility that will run this or any season he's playing 1,000 times.
Oh, wow.
In rapid succession, and it gives you the average stats of those 1,000 season runs, and it is spot on. And
wow.
It's scary how accurate it is.
But he can only do that with Diamond Mine. He can't do that with Action PC.
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm not saying that Diamond Mine is necessarily or Action PC is more accurate. I'm saying it could be as accurate potentially.
Right.
But you
what's
don't think
what's the definition of accurate?
Because
every game out there says we have the most accurate stats.
Well, I mean, go ahead, John.
My accurate results comes from the actual players playing their actual number of at-bats in the park that they played in against the competition they played against. And that's the baseline for the accuracy. Once you take players out in a draft league and put them in another park and their playing time is different, then but the baseline is the accuracy is there.
Yeah, when you do a replay in Action PC, because it's so easy to see replay and you see the numbers at the end of the season. It just and it's true about Diamond Mine, and I just for me, Diamond Mine was always the most accurate. In fact, we almost switched in our league, John, didn't we? From Diamond Mine to Action PC?
It was talked about internally, but I don't think we get enough guys to switch.
But you were up for it, I thought, right?
Oh yeah, I was more than willing to do it. Yeah. So I got Chalky in now.
All right, here we go.
Pitching to Foster.
Struck him out.
2-2, swing and a miss. Fresh pitcher, fresh results. Dave Concepcion. Popped up, short right. Combs is under, makes the grab. All right, let's see if I can chip away. Heart of the order. So, strikeout by Earl Combs. I think these days, it's replying to fast action here, that just about every computer sim out there is within a certain range considered accurate based on the engine that it's using. All right, Lou. A little flare into Geronimo. He's there, makes the grab.
I mean, it would be nice, and I would assume there is a way to do this, right? Where you could get, and maybe somebody has done this, a report, a truly sort of scientific study of which is the most accurate game. That's doable, right?
I think it's doable, but the sample size you would need for that would be
enormous.
Like I said, thousands, or if not tens of thousands of games for that. So, 3 points,
and of course, playability and all that stuff, has to factor in, because if all you want is accuracy, just hit a computer button.
Yeah. Okay, Tony Lazzari up with 2 out, waiting for the pitch from Gullett, and hard hit left field. Foster is going to make the catch for out number 3.
All right.
Yankees playing like a wet noodle, like they want to get away. And another strikeout for Shockey, doing what Hoyt could not do to start the game. Koenig throws a Gullett, out number 2. Very pitch efficient here, only 15 in an inning and a third. In for a hit, Pete Rose doing what he does best. 2 out, Ken Griffey Jr. or Senior. All right. We got Pat, not Phil Collins.
Right.
3-1
or Barnabas Collins.
Yeah. 1 out.
There's a way back reference.
Yeah. Remember rushing home from school to watch that.
Although when it comes to playing and seeing it on this screen versus the Apago and the other ones, I think this one with the larger, bolder font size is a lot easier to read and follow if you're just looking at the YouTube screen. Joe Dugan, 2 out, lines of left field, hard single. All right. But we got Shockey. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm gonna let him hit. Right? Yeah, it's too early. No, it's too early.
All right.
Get the bullpen in the back in these days are next to nothing. So
that's true. That's very true.
All right. We'll get another inning out of Shockey here. He's doing a good job. Morgan up. He was 0 for 2. Ground ball over to first from third. Oh, he beats it.
Save.
Oh,
beat him out. He beat it.
Oh, all right.
Pitch out. He's still staying.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. That just goes to show you how good Morgan was.
Yeah.
Well,
isn't he one of those guys like an Appa, or maybe it's Ricky Henderson, who if they get a single, it's automatic. It's like there's one year where he gets a single, or a walk or something, it's automatically he's on second.
Yeah.
What just happened there? How'd he get to third?
He tagged up. He tagged up.
All right, Tony Perez. Here we go, Tony. What's Tony done today? He's he was hit a 2-run homer. You're playing in. Am I going to try for home? No.
Perez retired. 2 men out. Morgan holds at third base. And with 2 out, they'll pitch normal to Foster. Grounded to second in front of Lazari. Oh my
Oh,
goodness!
error,
Go through his
error.
legs. Oh man.
Murderer's Row. More like not Murderer's Row.
He did a Buckner. Oh, one count.
And that'll do it.
Shockey. And that out for
Bottom of the
number 3.
fifth.
And that was an unearned run for Shockey. Let's see. Now we can go and look at the box score.
Sure.
Halfway through the game here, and you can see Shockey got the unearned run. 35 pitches, so I might leave him in still. And this comes with a score sheet also with the condensed play-by-play.
Right.
And then a full game log, more expanded version of what's
Another
happening. That's
great
pretty
thing
neat.
about this game is for some guys, I mean, it takes up so little space on a computer.
Yes, yeah,
You know?
yeah. It takes up maybe a tenth of what OTP does.
Maybe even less.
Yeah. All right, top of the order here. Line shot. Okay, here we go. We're only down 5. That's nothing for the Murderer's Row here. Earl Combs is up, gullet up to 80 pitches.
Oh, no.
Fly ball
Oh,
whipping
no.
line
Oh, he
deep
got
toward the
it.
corner after plenty of room, and he puts it away. Usual stays at first for the Iron Horse. Full count into left field. Springs into the gap. It's the track. He makes the catch. Foster put the star next to his. Yep, put a star next to that one on the score sheet. All right, baby. You got to give me a homer here. At least make it a 6-3 game.
He walked.
He walked twice, 3. Yep. They don't have nothing
Tony
to do with
Lazzari.
rooms today.
Back.
Back. He's
Makes the
there,
catch.
and the ball starts to slip. Nope, he got it for the 3rd out.
So some hard
And-
hit balls, but they're just
See,
not
we've got
finding the fence.
Shockey is due up 4th in the innings, so we'll see if he can outlast one more inning, holding the Reds down. 3-1, breaking wide, reaches opening the 6th with a base on balls. That is not a. Well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and remove him. And I'm going to put in Miles Thomas, who has a. Because the designated hitter cannot be used, must choose a position. Oh, okay. I put him in the pitcher spot here. There we go, pitcher. He has a very good durability. The previous pitch only had a fair, I believe.
Right.
So, all right. Gullet is up. And okay, go ahead. Ground ball, drawn to first to pitch. He's bunting. Why are you bunting with a 5-run lead?
Ooh,
That's- 5
You
runs
know,
is nothing against this Yankee team.
that's
Yeah,
that's
true.
and that's
That's
my
true.
excuse. That's my excuse.
I hate the unwritten rule stuff. Play the game.
I mean, honestly, if it was a position player, I wouldn't have. But with a pitcher, what else are you gonna do?
Well, he has successfully had the sacrifice. All right.
There's
PD.
Rose.
PD
Rose
base
0
hit.
for 3.
All 4. 2 men on. 1 man out.
This
Okay,
line is
Griffey.
insane.
I know.
Griffey, the guy that was like sort of like he wasn't the famous Red. He hit 336 in 76. Here's the hit and run. Fouled off.
Makes the catch. But he did tag up. Now he got 1st and 3rd with 2 out. For Joe Morgan. 2-2 pitch hit near the right center. Cruz is after it, and he gets it. And it's still 6-1 going into the bottom of the inning. Pat Collins. 0-2 pitch missed. Gullet's 4th strikeout of the game. Mark Koenig. Back to the box. Gullet easy. 1-3, and he's now reached 100 pitch mark.
That's nothing for 1976.
That's true.
He's got another 100 pitches in that arm.
All right. Johnny Bench, 0 for 1 with 2 runs scored. On the ground. Koenig on the first. And here is the, let's see here. Perez today. Double home run and a 6-3. He's been the banger for the Reds. 1-2 pitch, line in the gap.
Base hit.
Holmes a single, a double, a homer,
Perez.
and a single.
The
So he's
unsung hero of the Reds.
So
Right,
is
you
he
see the triple?
yeah, he's a triple short of the
Triple
cycle.
short
right?
of the cycle. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So if you can take this to extra innings.
No, he should get up. He should get up.
He
in
should
the
get up
ninth.
in the ninth.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well, no, we're in the 7th now, and this is maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could. He
Yeah,
could.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Hard hit,
Two
left field
away.
line. Ruzel pulls it in. Perez will stay at first. Concepcion up with 2 outs. 1-1 pitch, ground ball. Thomas takes it.
All
Guts
right,
it to first.
Your pitcher's due up.
Yeah, I'm going to be pinch hitting for him. And versus a lefty. Oh, I have to wait till you pitch.
Oh,
I have
right.
to wait till my light's green. All right, batting lineup. Let's go with
World's Worst Gamer says, I didn't cause the drama for once. Because I've heard he's caused some drama.
No.
Mike Gazella. He have the 403 on base average.
Mike Gazella.
No relation to John Kinsella.
Or Godzilla.
Yeah. Fastball outside quarter, strike 3. He was supposed to get on base, not strike out. Bob Musial. No relation to Stan Musial.
Yankee Stadium. Back. It makes the catch. Geronimo. Some great defense from both teams in this game.
Except for the second baseman who let one get
Oh,
to his
right.
leg. Yelich now at the 115 pitches.
Base hit.
Wide to first through the hole.
So now I'll start paying attention to, you know what I mean? Like the pitch count a little bit.
Yeah. You just keep him in.
Right.
That's fine.
I mean, he's up 6-1. See how far I can go with him. I think the Reds had a really good bullpen.
Gary reaching low, scoops the fly ball to Geronimo, retiring the side. And I will be bringing in. Goodness gracious, what do I got left?
Don Gullett holding Murderers Row to 1 run.
George Pipgrass. Geronimo. Jam job. Back to Pipgrass. Who retires? Geronimo at first. The pitcher, Don Gullett. Will he be pinch hit for? My guess
No.
is yes. No?
No.
Okay. Waves at a high one. Struck him out.
Pete Rose has somehow been in a time machine and gone back. As the picture that I have of Pete Rose is a young Pete Rose here. I don't know which picture you're using. In fact-
This is an older one in his gambling days.
Oh yeah, actually you have him right.
Yeah.
Hey, back to the game.
0-2 pitch, shallow right. And Ruth has it.
All right, bottom of the 8th. It'll be Ruth, Lazari, and Collins.
Ruth has walked 3 times.
Gullett, 121 pitches. And I've not been pitching around. There we go.
Oh,
You
there
knew
you
it had
go.
to happen. You knew it had to happen.
Upper deck.
Oh my goodness.
Crushed it.
That ball was somebody's child.
Crushed it. He hit that ball into 2026. All right, it's time to go to the bullpen here. I've got Raleigh Eastwick, Pedro Borbon.
Yeah, they had a pretty good bullpen.
They had a really good bullpen.
Yeah.
Will McEnany. Who's up next for you? Oh,
Lazari.
I see it. Yeah, I got it. Righties. Okay. So let's go with Bourbon. Is it Bourbon? I think it's Bourbon, right?
Yeah. Yeah, as far as gamers' comments here, you can change the colors. You can change the font size. I got this play-by-play is extra large. So, yeah, but if you have it in, I know my eyes can't take the very small font that is the default, but you can customize it to make it a lot larger and a color scheme with front to back that'll hopefully appease most people. So,
I mean, in pricing, nobody can beat Dave Cook. No, it's not possible.
No.
But
yeah.
this game you're going to pay. I think it's what 30 for the game itself. Is that right? 29,
$39.95, I think.
And then you're going to be paying about $30 a season, right?
Yeah, I think it's 25 for seasons.
And the thing about they don't do discount or do
they do
they'll
Black
do like
Friday
one
sales.
or two. Yeah, right. But their sales are. It's again, it's not a Dave Cook thing. You're going to spend a little bit of money. But it's a great game. All right, Bourbon facing Lazari. Struck him out. Collins.
Three balls.
Got him. Walter Koenig, otherwise known as Chekhov, steps in. Wow, I'm just great with the 60s references right now.
Line drive, single. All right.
All right, Dugan.
Let's see if we can chip away here.
2 away.
1-1. Ground ball off the left is backhanded to short throw to second, and that'll be it. Off to the ninth inning. Heart of the order, Griffey, Morgan, bench.
All right. One gone. Here's Morgan steps in. Morgan 0 for 4.
1 for 4.
Oh, right. 1 for 4.
Oh,
sorry.
he pulls it. It is gone.
Gone out of here, Morgan.
Wow.
The big red machine.
So we will guarantee to see Perez up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Spot to see if he can complete the cycle here.
That'd be cool.
After Johnny Bench is up here. Will he get hit? Nope.
All right. 2 away for Tony Perez.
All right. Here we go. Single, double, home the pitch. My pop, 2 men out. Nope. Not going to be.
Yeah, the play-by-play in this is really, really good. Like it picks up everything, the nuance. It's really, really good. All right, here we go. Bottom of the ninth.
Here comes the comeback.
Well, are you going to start that with your pitcher, Pipgrass?
No, I'm going to pinch hit once you give me control here.
I just did.
It's kind of ironic. We both have 7 hits in the game.
Yeah. Might have just gone farther.
All right. It's Ray Morehart. Oh, puts out. Oh, no, he takes it for the first out. Foster got to it. Musel's up 1 for 3. Easy fly ball. Griffey has it for 2 outs. And then Combs. Last chance to reach Ruth and Gehrig. Got to get on base. Hits one softly, racing in. He's there in his shallow field center, and he gets it. Game is over.
That'll do it. So I think we should. Scott John said George Takei at third, James Doohan at second, Nimue at first. So I think we should probably just stick to the one game for tonight, don't you think?
Yeah, John? That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
It was great. I mean, I think it's a great. I think Diamond Mine is well worth a purchase. But hey, everybody, thank you for joining us. Sorry that you got to see some family drama. I'm sure Ron and I will work it out. And of course, I've apologized here and I'll apologize to him. Actually, I did. I already texted him to apologize. Wasn't my intention to cause any friction. And you live and learn, as we get to know each other better and better and longer, you find out people's quirks and what they're comfortable with, and how to if you're a caring person, you make the adjustments that you're comfortable with to make somebody else feel comfortable. You don't just say, well, I didn't do anything and that's all him, and just don't be a dick. Just admit that there's always almost without exception, when human interaction happens and there's a problem, it's a combination, it's a miscommunication thing, it's one person not being on the same page with the other person. Don't forget, guys, if you could go to boxscorefilm.com, and if you would please sign up for the pre-launch list. That list is growing. I think last week showing off some footage, or that might have been last week, will help and has helped. If you have not seen the footage from the documentary, just check out last Tuesday's live stream, which is the live stream for August 11th. I showed about a 2.5-minute clip that we're really proud of, and I'm working on completing more of it and putting together this proof of concept reel. We have a podcast now. I'm not sure what that was. We have a podcast now, and you can find that wherever you listen to podcasts. Box Scores from the Basement. We have bonus content that's on the podcast only. Next week on the podcast, John Turnbull and I will be thumb wrestling with
our big toes.
With our right. Again, thanks to everybody for joining us, and we'll see you again really soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you guys.